The winner of each game will get bragging rights and a digital certificate to show off, which is always fun. We also have a prize for the overall winner who gets the most points, which is a Zox bracelet and charm. If you haven't heard of Zox, you will love this gender-neutral bracelet. And yes, if we have a tiebreaker, there's equal number of points between multiple people. During this game, you'll have the chance to network with others if you're interested in this topic as well, and we encourage you to participate in the chat. And clearly, it's important to educate people on this topic because grief affects us all at some time, and more likely multiple times in our lives. Today, in fact, is the National Day of Mourning for President Jimmy Carter, who passed very recently. So can, mourning and grief can happen. They're not scheduled, but they can happen whenever. Indeed, the first records of funeral rites are from over 300,000 years ago, so that we have been kind of honoring death for a long, long time. So it's surprising that prolonged grief disorder only made it into the DSM-5, the main psychiatric book of mental disorders in the mental health field, in 2022. And to facilitate our games today, we have our much to discuss program director, magnificent Maya Goldstone. We also have jubilant Julie Kende, who, in addition to being a wonderful person, is also related to this topic via 7 years of experience as a hospice nurse, working intimately with those experiencing grief. And of course, technically terrific Tyler is here to help us with tech. If everyone can say hi, Tyler, or hi to anyone if you feel so inclined. Throughout the games and events in general, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to either unmute yourself or talk or write in the chat. And fair warning, the scavenger hunt does require the camera to be on. And with that being said, I want to thank you all for coming, and let's get started and have some fun. So, for our first game, I'm going to introduce Maya.
Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Maya, the much to discuss program director. I am a young white woman with short brown hair, long gold earrings, and a yellow, black, and white striped shirt reminiscent of Charlie Brown, different pattern, but still. And I will be doing trivia today. Tyler, if you would be so kind as to display the slides.
Yes, I just need like half a moment.
Cool. How's everyone's day going? We all have a good day. We're all doing well. Love to hear it. So I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about our trivia while those slides are getting pulled up. So each question, before we have the question, I'll say the manner in which it needs to be answered. So that might be the first person to call it out. That might be the first person to put it in the chat. That might be the first person, if they are able, to stand up. We will get there. So welcome to our good grief. Charlie Brown, I know. Our good grief, much to discuss trivia. So if we could go ahead and head to the rules. Wonderful. Like I said, each round has a different way to respond. You must respond in that format with the correct answer in order to win that round. I do have final decision for marking points. We will get there when we get there. And I'll write down the points, one by each player. Each item is worth 1 point. So each question is going to be worth about 1 point. So are we ready for question one? Let's say the first person to call this out gets the point. So all of these are types of grief: anticipatory, abbreviated, delayed, inhibited, cumulative, collective, ambiguous, disenfranchised, and traumatic. Is this true or false? Oh, getting a little sneak preview there.
True.
Exactly. 1 moment. I'm adjusting my view because I cannot see who said that. Gallery. Could you say that one more time?
True.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dakota. That is correct. So, believe it or not, the answer is true. If you were like me, you had no idea that there were all these different kinds of grief. We don't have time to go through each one today, time limit and everything, but we encourage you to take a note of them and we can find out more later. Tyler, I can put them in the chat in the next few minutes. And if you want to take a picture of those, write those down. We highly encourage you to look into them just a little bit deeper. Next question. This one, we are going to have you type in the chat. So which famous person is not associated with the day the music died? Is that Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, J.P. Richardson, or were all of the above associated? I feel like I need the match game music. Does anybody know?
All of the above are associated.
Can you put it in the chat?
No.
Well, all right then, he is correct. So Buddy Holly, rather, all three of these music-oriented folks were sadly killed in a plane crash. So Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and J.P. Richardson, who was better known as the Big Bopper. All three were very well known, still are, and are very much mourned in the public. So if we could have the next slide, please. Technically terrific, Tyler. All right, for this one, let's have you also put it in the chat. A feeling one may have while grieving where they believe they could have done more is the definition of which of these words? Is it insomnia, trauma, paranoia, guilt, or all of the above? So
All,
one of these answer choices, what's up?
all of the above.
Not quite. So the question itself is a definition. Which word is being defined by the question?
Guilt.
Exactly. So guilt is the answer. And of course, we all know that a feeling of guilt doesn't necessarily mean that there was actually anything someone could have done. This can also manifest in the form of survivor's guilt after a traumatic event, if you've heard that term. And then for this one, for this next one, we'll also have you just shout it out loud if you would not mind going to the next slide, Tyler. Which of the following people are not associated with grief in some way? Is it A, Elmo, B, Sigmund Freud, C, Mary Frances O'Connor, D, Papa Smurf, or E, none of the above are associated with grief? How silly. The desire to do the Elmo impression is almost overpowering, but I remain strong.
I don't feel like it's fair to say that and not do it.
I need something to say. It's not a good impression. That's almost why I didn't do it. Very funny, David, but not quite.
I will say two of them seem kind of far-fetched, but one of them actually had a recent moment talking about grief with Andrew Garfield, just to give a hint.
It's a beautiful video. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
Mary Frances O'Connor. C.
So not quite. Mary Frances O'Connor is a psychologist and actually a subject matter expert in grief. But absolutely great guess. Love it. Does anybody else want to take one last stab?
D, Papa Smurf.
Exactly. Wonderful job, Jessica. So as much as we love Papa Smurf, he isn't typically who we would think of related to grief. Of course, all people are associated with grief in some capacity, because most, if not all of us, are going to experience it at some point. So it's kind of hard to come up with a name when constructing this particular question. However, Elmo has an episode of Sesame Street on grief with Andrew Garfield. Like I said, beautiful and highly recommend. Sigmund Freud articulated a theory of grief, and Mary Frances O'Connor is a psychologist and subject matter expert. Papa Smurf, who, however, is relatively unrelated. So for this one, call it out, type it in the chat, whatever you like. If we could go on to this last question. Which are involved when you hold space for someone? Is it creating a safe space, being fully present, being supportive and non-judgmental, being self-aware, or all of the above?
Be supportive and non-judgmental. C.
That is absolutely correct. There is a slightly more correct answer.
And I see David had dropped it in the chat.
Absolutely. It is E, all of the above.
All right, congrats.
We hope that you'll hold space for others when they're grieving. It's just very important socially, emotionally, physically to hold space for someone, especially in their time of need like that. So let me introduce Julie for our second game.
Can't hear you.
Scavenger hunt. Here we go. Let me give you the rules. Okay. You'll need to turn on your webcam so we know who gets back first. And there will be 3 separate items on the slide. Sometimes you might not understand right away how they're all related. Some are just fun metaphors for ideas. You will have a limited amount of time per letter. There are going to be 3 items, so you'll want to gather as many of those 3 as you possibly can, and then come back as quickly as possible. So whoever comes back to the starting position before the countdown ends, that's what we're looking for. Rush around the house, being safe, and then show them on the webcam within the time, and then we'll add up points. And let's see how we do. Hopefully someone can keep time for me. Okay, thank you, Maya. I see the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Okay, so I think we're ready for the first set of words. Love, lost, light. Everybody ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
"30 seconds on the clock."
I like to play this on hard mode where I just try to use things that are on my desk.
That's time, gang.
I
All right. Tyler, did you perchance see who came back first, or Julie, did you?
I did not.
I know David was holding things up. Anastasia ran in on screen, and I'm playing the hard mode. I'm only using things on my desk, so I didn't actually leave.
I don't
Same.
think I came back first.
So you mean I have to do this and duck off camera and then come back up for something on my desk?
No, we can
Just
get.
like,
I
just
think
like wave.
yeah, I think it's. I think you know what is if you got it there. It's yeah. You're
Mhm.
moving to get the thing, so I think that counts.
Okay. I mean, I need steps, but
I feel you.
It's more fun this way.
All right, Dakota, were you able to grab anything?
I grabbed my phone flashlight, but I don't know if it came up on screen. So
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I go?
Give me half a second, Jessica, writing this down.
Who came back
All
first?
right, go for it.
Okay. A yurt candle from my mother. A picture of my dog who died, who I love a lot. And this is also something that my mother did when I was a child, and she said that the child that she this is supposed to be her and this was supposed to be me. So yeah. Not to drag anybody down.
That's okay. I had a similar thing going on in my hand, so it's fine.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's
My mom is gone too. My dog is gone, my mom is gone. So they all represent love, loss, and light for me.
I really like that, and I wouldn't worry about. Don't worry about bringing the vibe down. Grief is a hard subject to talk about, but this is why we have it, just to talk about it. So even if it is heavy stuff to talk about, I think this is the perfect place to do so.
So is that it?
Well,
Does anybody
Okay.
else want to show what they've got?
I'll throw in there that our one of our dogs recently passed, and my daughter made her like this little collar kind of a thing. We got her a stuffed animal that looks just like the dog, so that she could like. We were like, oh, this means that she made it where she was going safely. Like we did that for her, so she made this and put it on the stuffed animal, and then periodically leaves it on my desk. So kind of the same as Jessica, where it kind of covers all three. If we want a light, I also have a light up wand sitting on my desk. So
I have one for Lost if we want to show it. So in May of 2024, well, I have a Barnum and Bailey poster, a metal sign. In May of 2024, the FSU Circus lost their tent, and we all kind of lost the place that we called home for almost 75 years, or a little over 75 years, actually. And so seeing this, which was a gift from my best friend who moved away, reminds me of what we've lost, but what light we have to look forward to. Alrighty, I do believe we've got points. Julie, if you want to say what all of
Sure,
those L's
sure.
are.
So love. Well, grief is very often about loved ones we've lost. And if you think about it, love is one of the values that we associate with, even assume about grief. You don't feel grief if there wasn't that love, that you didn't have an attachment. So lost, something you previously had is now gone. We can feel loss from any loss within our lives. So, for example, pets, you can mourn and feel the loss of a pet as if it was a loved one, because pets can very often be loved ones. Just someone who's still with us, but very ill. That's sort of another type of grief we'll talk about, anticipatory grief, knowing that that loss is coming is very intimidating, and that grief is can be very overwhelming. Grief will affect, I would say, more than 30% of people. So we talked about earlier, loss. We lost a president and had national mourning. So loss affects us all. And then, of course, light. Light is what we all look to. Grief can feel overwhelming, a darkness, a hollowness. But we have to realize there is light at the end of the tunnel through talking about it, working on or healing. Grief doesn't truly go away, but we try our best to grow around that grief to minimize how intrusive it is on our lives. Okay, I think we're about ready for the next slide. Ocean,
Oh, that's lovely, Stacy.
organization, obituary. Is everybody ready? 3, 2, 1. Start the clock, Maya. There we go.
I don't think I have an obituary on my desk. Unless we want to count the necklace again.
I found one.
On my desk?
A turtle.
That's time, gang.
Ooh, 30
All right.
seconds feels so much faster.
It does. I can bump it to 45 if we want. I do think I saw Meridian first.
Yeah, I was showing the. Here, let me get to it. The turtle.
Oh,
Ooh.
great turtle.
I have my own business card on my desk, if that counts as organization.
All right, Dakota, what you got?
I got a pin. It's the organization that takes care of me. They are Village Northwest out of Sheldon, Iowa, and so they helped me and my family just make sure I was packed and ready to go to travel to the funeral of my grandpa and everything like that. So they really stepped up and helped.
Please.
I've got one. So I have water on my desk that reminds me of the ocean. I have an obituary saved to my hard drive that I helped write for somebody who's passed on. And for organization, I have my Chewbacca cup holder with all of my pens and scissors and things that I use to help me get through the day.
Jessica, I saw you come back with stuff as well. You are on mute, my friend.
This is a picture I took in Martha's Vineyard. And and yeah, I I'm a member of an organization. That's the one. and 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 that's it. and my mother's obituary is somewhere in this room, only I can't find it. My
Stacy, you
grandmother's
look like
obituary, my grandfather's obituary, my uncle's obituary, all in this room somewhere.
I'm impressed at how many people have obituaries handy. Impressed might not be the right word, but in awe of the convenient obituary. I definitely have some of those.
I just
Some of those
realized
too.
my sweater has a lighthouse on it, so that could be ocean. That's
Oh,
also an organization. It's the place my mom works. It's their logo.
I've got
I
a
don't.
little.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
I don't have three. I don't know. Did anybody have? Oh yeah, I think people. I didn't have three, but I'll show you the two I had. I've got a file folder for organization, one of the many folders that I have college stuff for my daughter who's applying to colleges, and I will most certainly be in grief when she leaves me to go to college. Experience grief when she leaves me to go to college. And I have this is a picture of an ocean, but I don't know geography that well. So I'm assuming that's an ocean surrounding Hawaii. But on the off chance it's not, and it's a sea, here's a generic picture of an ocean. So I had the ocean part covered.
I think if David can use a water bottle, you can use a picture. Just say.
The only one I was able to grab was ocean. But I think you'll agree he's pretty rad. Oh, this is my ceramic shark that I made. My little candy dish. I am a biologist and I love sharks, but that's my representative for ocean. He looks like he's from a Tim Burton film. Anybody else got anything they want to share?
No, I definitely don't have an obituary on my desk.
Then Julie, why in the world are we saying these words?
I'm glad you asked that, Maya. So ocean. It's been included here because we could have an ocean of emotions, especially while we're experiencing grief. Two emotional symptoms people experience are sadness, which are experienced by 76% of people. I think it's probably slightly higher, and depression, experienced by 43% of people experiencing grief. Again, probably a little higher. Organization. Well, organization is important to help families and help ourselves. So oftentimes grief isn't just the loss, but then all of the onslaught of paperwork and the minutia of having to settle estates and be sure that bills are paid. Sometimes we need others to help with that. Perhaps hospice or palliative care facilities would be able to provide additional resources to help support those needs while one is grieving. And then obituary. I mean, as you already know, an obituary is a written announcement, usually in a newspaper, that indicates the person has died and describes some information about their life and loved ones and possibly where a memorial service is. Now, these are even searchable online and people can use them to see if someone they lost, they can contact from long ago has passed. More commonly now we see people are writing their own obituaries, obviously prior to passing, knowing what they want included and not leaving it for their loved ones who are grieving to try to put together all that love and all of those emotions into a newspaper column. So that's what we have for obituary. All right, I think we're ready for the next letter.
Meridian wanted to show the other
Oh.
two items since she did not know the rules beforehand and thought she only needed one.
Okay, let's see.
Thank you. I don't know. Is my video on? Trying to see. Oh yeah, here it is. So this is the obituary one. My friend passed away, and this is a shirt I have of us together. And then the other thing for organization is down here. This is where all my binders and notebooks and stuff for school are, because I always have to be organized for school.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Okay, I am going to move on to the next slide now.
Okay, stuffed animal, song, and security. Everybody ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
Maya, I'm
Maya?
already back.
I have my stuffed animals right here, all lined up.
Yeah, say I'm already
Meridian's
back.
on fire tonight, as am I, actually.
And here's a CD. She's actually a new singer I just learned about, and her music is really interesting. And then what was the other one? Oh, it was security, right? The other one.
Yeah. Well, here's my songwriting
Probably
notebook with.
this. My dream catcher.
Ooh, that's cute.
Oh, I like that.
Thank you.
It's very cute. I've got my songwriting book with some people playing instruments on it.
Awesome.
Her song. We're totally not waiting for this timer.
That's time, gang. All right. Meridian, you've already gone. Beautiful job. Does anybody else want to show what they've got?
Well, I'll show my last one since I showed my other ones. I have my keys
Oh, your keys. I thought you
for
said teeth.
security.
I
No.
got confused.
I can show mine off if no one else wants to go. Just right for stuffed animal, I have this Squirtle plushie that my friend got me for my birthday. My friend is actually a fellow Inform Your Community intern. She's not here today, but you may see her if you stay with the chapter. For security, I have my gym lock because it is a lock and it provides security. And for song, I have the a vinyl record of my favorite album ever, Janelle Monáe's The Arc Android. I think it is I'm not going to get all musical, but I think it's a very beautiful record. And it also does kind of talk about grief in many ways because she's grieving kind of like a past self and other things. So I found it to be kind of topical.
Nobody else wants to show off. I've got my roommate went to Japan over New Year's and he brought me home this little guy. His name is Chikawa. He's from the Tokyo Sky Tower. And he is quickly becoming one of my most prized possessions. And then somewhere I've got a little music box, but I can find that. Anybody else?
I got nothing. I can't run around right now.
I don't have anything. Nothing for me this round.
I think we're scaring people.
Yeah, I don't have a stuffed animal.
I somehow have a stuffed animal on my desk, so.
I do have the music box. I went and saw Pink Martini, the big band, live in March. And so I have a little music box that plays one of their songs.
And you're not going to play it for us? I don't hear anything.
I don't know if it'll go through my microphone.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. No.
I fear royalties.
Maybe later.
But why are we saying these S words?
Well, the first one was stuffed animal. When you're experiencing grief for any reason, it's important to practice self-care. And that can include giving yourself permission to take things slow, about talking about your grief, possibly joining a support group and hugging a stuffed animal. Could be very reassuring and comforting.
How about hugging your real animal?
That's important. That's important too. Love is love. And if that's where you can help heal your grief, animals are very intuitive and can sense our pain.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a really important thing. Song, we talked about songs. Well, songs like stuffed animals can help us to process and even embrace our grief, to allow us to have empathy and understand what other people are experiencing. We have also included this because one of our action items on our grief infographic is to ask others about their cultural or familial or personal practices and traditions that surround death and grief. Songs can hold emotional or cultural significance, and being aware of those significance, of those differences, will allow us to help others to be able to grieve, to give them that safe space to hold place for them to grieve. The last S was security. And grief can be accompanied by feelings of insecurity or feelings that maybe we aren't all safe. One of the most well-known examples would be the attack on the World Trade Center from 9/11/2001, where as a nation, we mourned and had a public expression of grief, but many people kept that grief during this period, wondering what could happen next, which is a type of anticipatory grief. So I think we're ready for the next slide. Time, together, and tired. Everybody ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1. Maya, start the clock.
Maya's already got time on lock.
And I'm ready already.
Oh my gosh.
Don't
Yeah.
kill me people. I have time right here. My cat clock. And then together, I put this together when I was in college. And it's a collage of my family and animals. And then tired would be my heating pad and my pillow.
I was gonna say I'm tired, so I don't know if I count.
Meridian's on fire.
Buddy, get
Okay,
out
I'm
of
ready.
pillow. Pillows. I'm tired.
And that's time, gang. Maybe I
Yay.
need to bump it back down to 30 seconds.
Well, I'm tired. I'm the item. I have a watch time, and then it's not gonna show up on my camera, I don't think, unless I like turn off my blur and all that fun stuff. But I have the little like figures from the band from the picture I showed for song. And they're all like together with their instruments, just kind of sitting on my shelf.
Lovely. Who else has got something they want to show?
Here's a picture of me and my grandpa and my other brothers.
Lovely. I love that.
Can go. So this is the time. This is two of my favorite people together. My wife and my departed cat.
Oh,
I miss every day very, very much. And tired, this is the look of tired. Exhausted. Stacy, are you looking at me? I am so tired.
It really wouldn't be a much to discuss event if we didn't get a David Goldstone cat tax.
Yeah, that's her name was Poppet, and she was with us
Oh,
for 21 years. And
such a cute name.
yeah, she was our baby.
And we did Kitty Hospice.
That's right.
In her
She was our
last
Klingon
year.
warrior princess.
Yeah. Mm.
Stacey, you've got something?
Okay, for tired, I have this is what I do. So David, this is what I do when I'm tired is I put on my eye mask thing and it does a little massager thing and it's got a heat thing. Highly recommend it. That is what I do when I am tired. I also, let's see, since we're on the cat theme, and I put in the chat that I literally read when my cats pass and yeah, oh gosh. But this is, I don't know if you guys can see, this is my son with our cat poking out on the other side a little. You can see a little paw there. They just got a new toy they're playing with. So they are together playing with the toy. And then, well, time I was gonna, well, here you go, time. On the same video, it says the time it was recorded, which was at 5:56 today. So I finally got all three. Late,
And
but
what
I got
a
all three.
time they're having.
And what a time they're having. I like that. I like
I'll
that.
see myself out.
You have to end on a high note. Ooh, bam. Sorry.
What are we going back to song?
Mic drop.
Is that it?
I
Anybody
believe
else
so.
have
Anybody
anything?
else got?
No. No. Okay.
Then take us to the end with these T words.
I will take it to time. Time, as in time heals all wounds, which is a saying you may hear when you're experiencing grief, but one well-known model or framework for understanding our feelings when we experience grief involves the 5 stages by Kubler-Ross. Probably have heard of these: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and finally acceptance, which suggests that over time, feelings change. Other models of grief exist that don't involve time healing wounds. For example, Tonkin's growing around grief model suggests that our grief is always there, but like we talked about earlier, we grow around that grief. So it seems smaller by comparison. Then together, well, what's better than together? Community is important when we're experiencing grief, which is that pain that accompanies a loss or even just a change. And you would probably guess that doesn't always include death. Joining together with others is important, in part because it gives us a chance to talk about grief. In one study, 68% of Americans reported that they wanted more dialogue about grief. And then tired. Well, earlier we mentioned emotional symptoms of grief, but you may not know there are physical symptoms as well. 59% of people reported experiencing fatigue. So being tired when grieving is not unusual. Also, 48% of people reported experiencing changes in appetite.
Well, I think that just about does it for tonight's much to discuss on grief. I think other than, do we want to talk about the winners of the for the quiz, as it were?
Well,
Oh,
wait,
yeah?
we also have the bonus point of what word did we spell?
Ah,
Did anybody manage to catch what word was spelled in our scavenger hunt? First person to just shout it out loud gets that bonus point. We love a bonus point.
My shoulder shimmy is confusing me and making me lose my train of thought.
it's tactical.
It's, clearly, you know Maya.
And give you a hint, use the test to take the test.
What?
One of the words was the word.
Mm-hmm.
What do we most experience when we lose somebody? Well,
I think it.
Grief, sadness.
was
lost.
spelled out.
Okay, I said it. Lost.
Yes. Lost.
Lost.
Like the
Perfect.
show.
Maya?
So I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, for our scavenger hunt, we had a tie. So you will both be getting certificates. And that is a tie between Dakota and David. Congratulations,
Wow.
Dakota and David.
Me?
Yes, of course, David. Who else?
Ooh.
Who
Can,
else?
can I say something about Kubler versus theory?
Sure.
Sure.
What they do, what they say about it is it's not linear. People go back and forth between
Mm-hmm.
denial, acceptance, whatever the 5 stages are. People, and they spent their entire their careers after they came up with this theory that we didn't mean it was linear.
Correct. It is not linear, and you can double back, if you will, and experience one twice. And there may be one you totally skip. But just knowing about the 5 basic stages allows you, when you are helping someone else through grief, understand where they're coming from, understand why they may be angry one day, and try to bargain another day. To know those stages are there is more of a map.
Yeah. And I think it's great that you just mentioned that grief isn't linear, because I find that some people, maybe you're having a couple of, like, maybe you're having some better days, but then you have a not so good day. It can be easy to make you think, oh, well, my progress has been undermined, and like maybe I'm not, like when you have a couple of better days and then one really bad one, it can make you question things. But that's the nature of grief. It's not perfect. It doesn't fit in a timetable. Like life, like death, it can be messy, chaotic, but it, like we said, time is a great healer. And just know that I love the growing around grief model. I think that's a great way to frame it, because again, I think it's hard when you have the idea to like try and expel grief, but like it still kind of lingers.
And it's important to realize that no 2 people grieve in exactly the same way. There is nothing, you don't grieve incorrectly. If you're feeling it, then it's okay to express that feeling. And those around you who are supportive will support that. And that's important to take that out of this, that everybody grieves differently and there is no wrong way.
Right.
So, quick aside. So, David and Dakota won for our trivia game. However, we do have a clear winner for our scavenger hunt, coming in with a whopping amount of points. We have Meridian. Wonderful job, Meridian.
Good job.
So,
Thank you.
the 3 of you expect an email from me roughly in the next 7 to 10 business days, and we will get your certificates out to you.
Is there a way I can message you on here right now to give you my actual email address? Because it put in my wrong email address. My
Oh,
old
yeah.
one
Go ahead
automatically.
and direct
can-
message that to me, and I'll
Okay,
or
I was gonna
Kyler.
say if you want, yeah, either me or Maya, and we'll make sure we get that.
It'll get back to me in some capacity.
Make sure you get the spelling of my name correct.
That's going to be a real challenge for me.
Yeah.
A real
I know.
hardship.
I do like the last name Goldstone. I think it just sounds cool. I have nothing else to add.
Look,
I just
I'm
think
just saying, I
Thank
don't know
you.
if that's a lowercase L or a capital I.
true. So I think if there's nothing else, I just would like to thank you all for coming to our Much to Discuss event on grief. I really hope you guys enjoyed this event. I had a great time. And please remember that this is only the beginning of learning about this topic. Please consider committing to a weekly act to raise awareness about issues relating to grief. Getting informed by coming to this event is a great way to start, but to help you continue to learn about this topic, we're going to send our event video and infographic in a follow-up email in about a week. And we, of course, encourage you to review what you've learned and share this material with others. Now, if you all wouldn't mind just taking a quick moment right now to take our poll that should be popping up soon. And just a quick note, these will not be the same questions you'll get in your survey. In the meantime, sorry, to look for and learn more about to look for and learn more about great Inform Your Community events, not only our Much to Discuss program, but events from other programs as well, please check out our website. Again, that's www.informyourcommunity.org. And our events are posted through June on our site, so feel free to sign up. Our next free event is actually a New York City chapter event. It is a Craftivism Restorative Justice Adult Crafting event, which will be free. Again, that's in person at Pier 57 on January 16th at 6:30 p.m. That is a Thursday. If you can't make the in-person event, our next virtual event is our Know It All on Bioethics, which will be a very interesting discussion. That's also on a Thursday, January 23rd at 6:30 p.m. So most of our events are on Thursdays, same time. So if this time works for you, hopefully it'll work for you in the future. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, please be sure to like our video again, subscribing to our channel, sharing with family and friends. It all helps out. Also, we ask that you please consider donating to cover the cost of the material. Oh, sorry, that's actually not for this one, but we do have some craft. But if you are interested in donating, if you want to donate, I mean, it always helps us out. And again, we do have crafting events where we donate the materials to people who can't afford. We send all the craft materials to people. So that'd be a great way to kind of help us offset that cost. But lastly, I just want to thank you all for coming and helping inform your own communities based on what you've learned today. I hope you all had a great time. I hope you all learned something. And again, grief is a hard thing to discuss. So I'm very happy that people we got to show up and just kind of have a healthy conversation in a game format. You wouldn't think that grief is like something you think of in a game night, but that's the Inform Your Community way. We combine events with activities or like topics with activities. So you never know what we'll be doing next, other than the two things I just outlined.